Hey everybody, this is PWZ. This is the Professor Rick Del Santo, and joining to me today is from the Top Rope Report, Mr. Trivia. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Rick? Thanks for having me tonight.
Hanging in there. We're talking about some pro wrestling coming up. There's a really big event, an annual tournament locally coming up next Saturday, the King of Paradise, hosted by Paradise Alley. And there's always a really fun time at these events. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. It's going to be headlined by a lot of, the world title versus intercontinental title. I don't know if they've ever done this in Paradise Alley before. Matthias is defending against Zafir Al-Rahihi, which I think should be a pretty interesting match.
Yeah, I mean, Matthias, he's a good champion. He's a good wrestler. I don't know too much about the other guy, but I think Matthias is going to come out on top. He's a good wrestler from Uruguay. He's a tough competitor. Good choice to have him as champion.
Speaking of which, today is Matthias' birthday as well, so I want to give a birthday shout-out. And Zafir was a former Paradise Alley Tag Team champion, him and Maxim Morozov. So he's been tearing it up for quite a while in Paradise Alley, taking titles and stuff.
Well, I've seen a couple of shows on Twitch. This is going to be my first live event for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling in close to a year.
Yeah.
I usually don't like to attend shows without my co-host, and we all know what the situation is with the Nugster. And so I'm getting a chance to go with my other good friend who's a member of the Top Rope Report. He used to be an independent wrestler back in the day, wrestled under the name of Tony Black and Corporal Roswell.
Okay.
His claim to fame was he wrestled Lumberjack Rick Fuller.
I remember Rick Fuller very well. Yeah. He was a New England staple for quite some time. I think he ended up, if I'm not mistaken, he made it into WCW for a little while too.
Yep.
And there's a lot going on. I have been to pretty much every Paradise Alley show since the pandemic opened up, or even when the pandemic was still happening, when they were having these smaller social distance shows and stuff. So this one I'm not going to be able to attend, but it is going to be on Twitch, so I'm going to be sitting there because if I can make it, my son's got a basketball tournament. I'm going to be out of town throughout the entire day, so I don't know if I'm getting back into town on that day. So I really hope I can. Hope, the guys aren't going to be mad at me for not attending, but I will be watching it. And I will be watching and reporting it because one thing is that I love Paradise Alley. I love the guys. I love having them on the show. Anybody from there. Bull Dredd has been on numerous times. Matt DeCourt's been on a number of times. Rep Bill is coming on tomorrow. There's always a bunch of guys that I've scheduled a bunch of guys. It's just a matter of working our schedules out.
The podcast that I do, we're going to have Matt DeCourt on our show as a guest on the 23rd, which will be the day after Paradise Alley, so we can talk about the show.
That's cool. He's always a good guest and very talkative. He's always got some really good stuff to say, even outside of the Paradise Alley when we're just talking professional wrestling. So the other thing, another match is the King of Paradise. There's only is that it? Oh no, wait, hold on. Let me get to this. We're going to discuss the matches that are not part of the tournament before we discuss the tournament. I think that's so. The next match is a tag team match. It's going to be a three-way with the Firm, the Haven against Waves and Curls. Waves and Curls actually made their AEW debut on their YouTube series, Dark, recently, and I thought they killed it against the Varsity Blondes. They're going to be on again this week, or this coming Tuesday on AEW Dark as well, so good for them. Yep. This match, I think, is going to be a really good match. It's kind of a hard one to pick as to who is going to win this, but I would not be surprised if the Firm somehow find their way to victory in this match because they're pretty sneaky guys.
Yeah, they are. Waves and Curls is a great team. The Haven, I think they're an awesome team as well. We've had them on my show in the past, and this is going to be a real good, interesting tag team match.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to probably go with the Haven here as far as like my victors, like my predictions. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the firm do because they like pull sneaky tricks and stuff. By the way, how come lately in Paradise Alley, I don't know if you noticed that there's only two guys from the firm in there. It's only Sammy Diaz and Elijah Six. The other guys, Jay Bricks hasn't been booked, and what's the other guy? The guy with the blue suit.
They used to call the Smurf.
Yeah, that guy. What happened to those two guys?
I don't know. I haven't seen either one of them around.
I know they've been working Test of Strength shows. At least the Smurfy guy has. So I haven't seen them. The other two jump in at Paradise. Maybe when things open up full time.
Unless Jay Bricks is doing another house party.
Yeah, I don't know. So this next match, they're going to break into the tournament now, is the King of Paradise first round matchup. It's going to be Bloodsaw against former Intercontinental Champion Maxim Morozov. Morozov lost his Intercontinental title at the last event to Kylon King, who was the Anytime Any Gold contract holder. So
yep.
He cashed that in after Morozov had a hard-fought victory Russian chain match against Bull Dread. Man, that match was really brutal. We were right there for it, right up front, and it was nice. It was bloody. But Kylon King surprised everybody. I actually popped and I just said, holy shit, when it happened. Because I think that kid, very big future in this business, and I think he's going to be a huge star someday. He's really, really killing it, that guy.
Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, this one's going to be a real good match. I've always been a follower of Bloodsaw.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw him, I liked his gimmick. I think he's a real good talent, and I'm going to go with Bloodsaw to take the victory here.
I'd have to go with, I think that's a very good chance that's going to happen, but wouldn't be surprised if Morozov somehow got his way to victory somehow, because he is he's a brutal guy, but it doesn't seem like he really has many friends right now. As they kicked the Pyramids of Power. Excuse me. They destroyed them last time, and they attacked him. They turned around and attacked him at the previous show, but the show before that, him and Zafir attacked them. So I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Zafir got involved, but it very well could not happen, and Bloodsaw will go to victory.
Right.
So there is another one. Oops, I just closed the page. This one I'm really looking forward to, because was it the last show or the show before that? I think it was his first appearance that I witnessed at Paradise Alley, is High Voltage Omar taking on Flash Waller, who's another kid that's going to be a huge star someday as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a real good match. I love the way Flash Waller works in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, he's got a good future in this business, as long as he stays healthy and stays on the right track. High Voltage Omar, I've seen him a few times, and he's a tough competitor.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about him prior to that. Like Kincaid talked about him a lot, and I've seen him on his show before. And then I finally got to see him, and I was really impressed with this guy.
I think Flash Waller is going to come out on top, though.
I agree with this one. I think Flash is definitely going to go with this one, and then also this one I think is going to be the oddest match out of the first round matches. Bull Dread is going to be taking on Kylon King.
The greatest warriors and the greatest champions are those that have suffered defeat, have fallen, and have rose right back up and claimed what is theirs. May 22nd, PAPW King of Paradise, Kylon King. You may be PAPW's top prospect. You've always shown me respect. But rest assured, friendship aside, this is all business. As I'm on the path to claim, once again, to be the best in Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and claim king of paradise.
Dread, don't kill the kid. Seriously, because this is to work two different styles.
Yeah.
And and Dread is be a little bit hardcore and that works a brawling styles. And like I said, I don't know. I can't really pick who the hell's going to win this one. And I think that if it is Kylon, it's going to be something like really, really crazy, like just out of nowhere kind of a maneuver.
Where'd I go?
You're there.
I can't see myself on the screen though.
Are you the blue circle? Did you maybe turn your camera off?
Oi. Oh, there we are. Okay, I'm back, folks. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. I mean, Dread. I'm going to get a chance to see him in June at Battlefront Pro.
Is that in Massachusetts? You're going up there
for
that?
That's it. I think it's in South.
I think it's Lowell, Mass.
Lowell, Mass. Yeah.
Yeah, I have never been to a Battlefront show. I've heard a lot of really cool things. I think Kincaid has talked about it. There's been a couple other people that I've seen talk about it. It's supposed to be a really good promotion. So.
Yeah, definitely. It's Dread's first appearance, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him. I've always enjoyed Dread's company. I've known him for quite a while. He's been on my show before, and I just hope he doesn't hurt Kylon too much. But then again, Kylon King, he's the Intercontinental Champion now, so you don't get that. You don't win that title.
The Alley Fights champion.
Yep. Yeah. Or the Alley Fights champ. So.
Yeah, I mean that kid's. He's one of those guys. He has a really good style, and his move set is really good. He just, he's got a match coming up in XWA against Leo Rush. Was it next week or the week after? So, God bless him, man. This kid's making waves in the industry if he's getting matches like that. So, good luck to him in that match.
I also heard that the Punjabi Lion is going to be on AEW Dark.
I heard that today, kind of shortly before coming on here. I did see that. Was that Robo, right? Is his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him take on Matthias. I think was that last year or the end of. I think it was last year. I think it was right. It might have been the
pandemic.
Yeah, it was like the first match or the last match prior to everything shutting down. I think it was at that event. That was a really good match. I thought that was good. So good luck to him, man. Going on AEW. Now, from what I understand, your guy, what's his name? Is it Vanish is also making an appearance? Or is he just, I saw him post a...
For Battlefront or AEW?
No, for AEW. I saw him post
Vanish?
A picture. I saw him post a picture with, and the AEW backdrop was there. So
I'll have to check that out. When's Robo going to be on?
That I'm not sure. I just saw him post a picture.
I'm going to have to start watching AEW Dark. That's on Saturdays, right?
No, that's on Tuesday evenings. There's two different versions. There's Dark I always call it the wrong thing. Dark Elevation, which is Monday nights, and then Dark, which is Tuesday nights. They're both on YouTube at 7 o'clock. They're interesting programs because they bring in a lot of like indie talent. Kind of like if you're watching things like when you used to watch like primetime wrestling back in the day when you were a kid. There'd be a lot of squash matches or sort of like that, But they're giving like a lot of young talent, like local talent. They come into Florida and work matches, basically tryout matches or such things. And, it's a pretty good program because you're seeing guys that you might be watching on your local scene just all of a sudden, on there. And it's really cool that they're doing that. What's the other guy's name? The Big Cal Stevens. I know he changed his name. But he was on there not so long, a few weeks back, probably like a month or so back, and he was really impressive on there. So it's another guy that's making waves in the industry, it seems.
Cool.
Yeah. So what else, Mike, you have outside of Paradise Alley? Is there anything else?
Well, I know my podcast is doing our prediction show tomorrow night for WrestleMania Backlash. We're doing our prediction show at 12:30.
Okay.
And that could be heard on TalkShoe.com, Google Podcast, Anchor, Spotify. Sundays. We were at 6:30 on Sundays, but now that Greg's all done with his therapy and everything on Sundays, we might be going back to our 10 a.m. time slot again.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
I'll definitely have to talk to him about that. And also, thanks to the professor, Rick Del Santo, the Top Rope Report is now on tpublic.com.
Yeah, go check out the shirts. I'm getting one this week. There's a new design that I absolutely love, the picture with you guys on it. And I don't normally wear pictures of guys on the shirts because I think it's weird, but that shirt is really cool looking.
Yeah. So. I saw it earlier and it was like, wow, I think it was really cool. But you can purchase T-shirts, masks, notebooks, kids' clothes, phone cases, coffee mugs. Yeah, it's endless what you can purchase on there. And also, check out the PWZ store on there. Rick's got some good stuff.
I've gotten some shirts off of there. My shirts. And I think they've come out way better than I expected. By looking at, they look one way on the website, but when you get them, they actually look way better in person. So
and I have to go through the T-shirts that are on the site in the store, and it's like, oh my God, there's so many different colors. And as I'm clicking on the colors, it's like, wow, that looks cool. That color looks cool.
Yeah. There's some really good stuff. So, and not this coming week, but the week after, there's going to be a 35% off sale as well. It seems like there's a sale just about every other week. So
nice.
That's
also, one other question I wanted to ask you: is there a way on that site that you can see who purchased the stuff?
That part you can't see. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Whoever set up the account will get an email saying that it's sold, but it doesn't say who bought it.
Oh, okay.
But
I know a girl that I work with at Goodwill in Wallingford. She purchased 2 of them. And there was another shirt that was purchased, but I don't know who bought it. And so, but hopefully, we're looking forward to, hopefully getting quite a few sales.
Yeah, man. There's going to be it's fun. You know what I mean, to make it that far, and then to have merchandise. You guys have been around. How long have you guys been around now? Because you guys, I guess, a few months ago, 9 years. That's amazing. Because you started off initially as a public access television show, right?
Yes. I started off as a public access television show called The Top Rope. And then I found out that there was another promotion that was called Top Rope. So I changed the name because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
Right.
So I bought the domain name Top Rope Report. So now we're going on our 354th show tomorrow.
I've been lucky to be on the show numerous times. I mean, was it last year you guys had me on for the first time? Prior to the pandemic going crazy. It was like a couple months before that. And I got to tell you, it's about the time that I was actually launching this show. And
we had you live in the studio too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And when I was on, it felt really good to be on it because I was kind of like just dipping my toes in the podcasting world. And then, you guys helped me out a lot. I owe a lot to the Top Rope Report and Don Kincaid for helping out so much and getting me out there and helping me get out there and stuff.
Us podcasters, we're a rare breed. We all got to stick together and help each other out. And it's nice to go from show to show and talk to the different fans because there's some fans that you get that we don't get, and there's some fans that you don't get. So,
and then we're always able to help each other out as well, such as in situations like this, I want to cover a certain topic, and I know you're a watcher of this product, so come on in.
Yeah,
I'm trying to expand this a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
good.
You guys have had a lot of guests over the years, a lot of really good guests too.
Yeah, we've had former WWF wrestlers Barry Horowitz, Tugboat, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, Coco Beware. When we did our 100th episode, we did it from M&J Video Games and Collectibles at 1049 Queen Street in Southington. We had congratulatory calls from Tony Atlas, Mario Mancini, Tito Santana, and the biggest one we had was Demolition.
Wow.
So we
smash.
And we're going to be getting more former WWF wrestlers on the show. I just sent out a invitation to Del Wilkes, who's known as the Patriot.
Yep.
I've sent one out to him. I've sent one out to Steve Lombardi. Hopefully within another month or so, we'll have former WWF wrestler and one of the owners of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, Mario Mancini, as a guest on our show. And it's interesting because Mario credits me for getting him back into the business.
That's really cool.
And I think my biggest honor, other than doing the podcast with Greg and working with guys such as yourself and Don Kincaid, would have to be when Mario mentioned me in his Hall of Fame speech for Joe Bruin's
the New England Hall of Fame, right?
The New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And we've also had some indie stars on too. We've had Flash Waller, we've had Vanish, we've had The Haven. Like I said, we've also had ring announcer Matt DeCourt. We've had one of my good friends, Big Daddy's been on.
Oh, yeah, he's been on here numerous times.
But no interview I've ever done for this show was better than the legendary Ox Baker. I remember.
Was he in character, or was he out, or was he?
He's always in character.
Really?
I remember when I first met him, we were at a pizza place in Wallingford, because for those people who don't know, Ox resided in Danielson, Connecticut.
Okay.
And John, the owner of M&J Video Games, was his agent. So he told me he could get Ox Baker on the show. He was going to meet us at the pizza place. So I walk in the door and I see this guy sitting with his back to the door with this big black top hat on. And I walked over to him and I said to him, "Hello, Mr. Baker. It's a pleasure to meet you." He said, "All right, kid, what do you want? Let's get on with the interview." And it took off from there. We became really close friends. We went to a couple of wrestling shows together. He was on my TV show that I had. And I credit John when we first started, because John was one of our sponsors. And when I was living in Pennsylvania, the show was still running on TV, so I missed the interview live. But he did bring to the studio Vader.
Really?
And Vader was on my podcast. I wasn't there because I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and I had friends of mine that were working the show for me. And after the show was over, I got a call from this guy screaming at me on the phone. "What the hell was going on with that? Your co-host didn't know who Antonio Inoki was, and blah, blah, blah." And I, who the hell is this guy? And it was Vader. And it was like, oh my Lord. But yeah, so it's been quite a ride. I mean, as a matter of fact, I do have some of the memorabilia from some of the people I've met over the years. Gangrel.
Oh yeah.
The Mexicools.
Oh, I remember them. Yep.
I'm sure you might remember this guy, Buzz Sawyer.
I was just watching him this evening. I've been watching a lot of older NWA, and he's been popping up quite a bit lately.
Also, you might remember this guy, King Brian Anthony.
I have an autograph of Brian's, yeah.
Yep. One half of Crime Time, JTG.
Yep.
One of my favorites turned out to be a really good friend of mine, Barry Horowitz.
Oh, yeah, Barry's a great dude.
Yep.
I've had him on here before. It's actually one of my favorite interviews I've done.
To our Top Rope show. The first picture I showed you, he made out to the Nugster. Then he made this one out to me personally.
Oh, yeah?
And then there's one in here that I will never forget. Oh, this is Tugboat.
That's awesome. Where did you get the Tugboat one? Was he signing somewhere?
MK.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. This is probably before I started going to all those signings.
Nikolai Volkov.
I have a few of his, yeah. I got something here I want to pull out of this. I got this in the mail today. I'm going to open it. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Johnny Fabulous.
Move it over a tiny bit. I can't see. I'm not familiar with him.
That's
Was
John
he like
Cena's father.
Oh, John Cena. Oh, Cena Senior. Yeah, I know him.
The Warlord.
Yep.
And this one here, I have a little story behind this picture here.
Oh, yeah?
Brutus the Barber came to John's store in Southington. He was there with his wife signing autographs, and he gave me a picture, and he says, pick the picture you want. So I thought the best-looking picture he had there was him and the Warrior. So I said, Brutus, can you sign this one for me and make it out to the Top Rope Report? He said, yeah, no problem. While he's signing the photo, I pointed to the Warrior, and I said, there's a guy that's going to be missed. And Brutus looked at me, and he said, not by me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people feel that way.
He said, if there's a hell, Warrior's in it.
Yeah, a lot of people felt that way.
And then I found out the reason why, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. He was not a very... If you can do your research... go to Google. There's a lot of bad things that went on with him in his career, but I don't want to talk shit that much on this show. But I did get this today in the mail. If you're a fan of NXT, excuse me, got a Kushida autograph. Yeah, I just got that in the mail today. Bought it last week from highspots.com, and it just came, or actually this week, I should say, and it just came in. So I was pretty excited to get that. I've been an autograph collector for quite some time.
Yeah.
I got to organize some of the ones that I just have some laying around that I need to put into. I have to file with the others because some of them I have hanging up. Some of them I have hanging up. Some of them I just have boxes of, and they tend to, when I get in the mail, just tend to throw them off to the side sometimes. So I got to try not to lose my stuff.
Hey everyone, you want to listen to the best in pro wrestling talk? Tune in to the Top Rope Report podcast with Mr. Trivia and the Nugster Greg every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on TalkShoe.com, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast. Join us as we discuss WWE, NXT, PAPW Independent Wrestling, and a whole lot more. It's the Top Rope Report, the best in pro wrestling talk.
Yeah. But,
so is the WWE pay-per-views this Sunday, right? Is correct?
Yes.
I don't know what's going on because I really haven't kept up on WWE since WrestleMania, so I'm not really, I don't know what's going on. So do you want to give us a little?
Yep. Just 1 second.
Yep.
Yeah, there's only 6 matches.
We'll see. They'll probably add. They might add one.
Add,
one or
2 more. But right now they have the triple threat match: Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman. They have the triple threat women's match. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte.
Too many triple threats already. There's 2 triple threats on the same show.
Yep.
That doesn't make any. That's kind of overload in how I look at it.
They have Bayley versus Bianca Belair, which I think is going to be a really good match.
That'll probably be a really good match. Yeah.
Yep. And they have Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic.
Jesus.
They have, I believe they have, I believe they have the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Okay. The women's match tag team champion.
Yeah. Tamina and Natty against Shayna and Nia Jackson, a rematch.
Right.
I'm really kind of glad.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that the Tamina and Natalia won.
Yeah, that's just. I'm not really necessarily interested in that match. I mean, I'm going to watch the pay-per-view because it's just. I really generally just watch the pay-per-views these days. I don't watch a lot of the actual. I do watch NXT, but things have been too busy. Oh, there's also Damian Priest and The Miz in a lumberjack match.
Damian Priest and The Miz in a lumberjack match. Yep.
That's going to be Damian Priest. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's it looks like a mediocre show. I mean, the main event with Lashley and McIntyre. Get Strowman out of there. I'm kind of tired of him. He does nothing for me. He never has.
Now they're saying that they want to put Drew McIntyre in a program with his former 3MB member Jinder Mahal.
I mean, what kind of Jinder Mahal? I mean, I'm not gonna. Jinder is a former WWE champion. Let's be serious. Yeah. The guy has paid his dues and he's been around a long time. He's not a bad wrestler. I just think that people look at him because he was just part of 3MB and he was for lack of a better term, jobber. So, people just like, oh, this guy came out of nowhere and won the title. I'm just like, some of these guys work their asses off to get to that position. You know what I mean? Yep. Oh, good for him for making it that far.
I also want to mention next Saturday, unfortunately I won't be at the signing because I'll be at PAPW, but next Saturday at M&J Video Games and Collectibles at 1049 Queen Street in Southington, John is bringing in Just Incredible from 5 to 7 for an autograph signing, and then from 7:30 to 10:30 he's bringing in Shane Douglas and the Sandman.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to make that, so maybe I'll see if John can, get one for me, and then I'll get it from him. But
yeah, because so anybody out there that's listening, you better be listening to the show because trivia is on. But anybody out there listening, it's M&J Video Games and Collectibles at 1049 Queen Street in Southington, where he does bring you the stars. 2 weeks ago, he had James Storm on.
Yep.
I
missed that, and I'm so mad that I missed that. I mean, I had no choice. It was my wife's birthday. So it's not like, so I couldn't just sneak off and be like, hey, I'm going out. It's like, I promised my wife I'd take her out and do stuff. So, we had a nice night. So we went to the casino. We had a lobster. Let me tell you something. I'm not a huge casino fan, and I don't necessarily like doing that, but she likes doing that. So we just went, stayed overnight, and she wanted a lobster. I don't know the price of lobsters, but this lobster that she got was $108.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, I thought it was going to be like $40, $50 for a lobster because I knew they were kind of expensive. Maybe it's just because it was at the casino it was that much.
Probably.
I was just like, hell no. But yeah, man, it was a good weekend, but I got to miss James Storm and I really wanted to go go check that out. So, I mean, I have a James Storm autograph already. I have a picture of him and Bobby Roode from when they were in TNA together as beer money. So, you know, it would have just been a really cool opportunity just to meet him. You know what I mean? I mean, I did that when Barry was there. I had already had autographed pictures of Barry Horowitz, but I wanted to meet him. So, I ended up getting a really cool photo from Barry as well.
Yep. So let me ask you, we just got some bad news yesterday that ECW legend New Jack had passed away at the age of 58. One of the toughest hardcore guys around.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, no disrespect to anybody because I don't talk ill of the dead, but I'm really surprised he lived that long.
But, yeah. I'm not going to say anything. I've met him once before. He was real cool with me. I've heard that he was a wild individual. If you've ever seen this episode of Dark Side of the Ring, he's a pretty wild individual. Yeah. So, you know, it was just one of those things like he's pretty, you know, I'm surprised that he did as well. I mean, he lived a wild lifestyle for a very long time. You know? So but he, God bless him, you know, and rest in peace. You know, he was a legend. I was there for that Danbury, you know, one of the Danbury Fall, they call it, when he damn near died in Danbury, Connecticut for the ECW pay-per-view, when him and Vic Grimes were on top of the scaffold, and there was a mishap when they were supposed to go off of it, and New Jack ended up landing on his head and basically cracking part of his skull. So, goddamn, you know, that was some wild times, but you know, rest in peace to New Jack. And I couldn't believe it because he was still a very active, you know, in the indie scene. He would still make appearances. He would do a lot of autograph signings and stuff. So, you know, I was actually surprised to hear about that.
I just mentioned to John that I was going to promote his signing. I said I'm on Skype with Rick Del Santo, and he says thanks. He said we'll promote you guys too. So,
maybe John should come on the show sometime and talk about wrestling and Bob Backlund and all his signings. And now, if anybody that's listening has never heard of M&J, it's a really freaking cool store. It really is. You walk in there, it's got video games from God knows when, the beginning of time, the beginning of the video games. It's got wrestling merchandise. It's got wrestling magazines. They got a whole wall of fucking wrestling action figures from dating back from the 80s to
I worked at that store for 3 years. So and the funny thing was that she had Eugene in the store tonight for an autograph signing, and Eugene happened to look up at the ceiling, and he said to John, he said, "Oh, you have a Money in the Bank briefcase up there. If I climb the ladder and pull it down, will I get a title match?"
That's funny. Yeah. If anybody, you know, it's just a really cool place to visit. Like, they've got tons of DVDs. He's got tons of DVDs. He's got signings basically every other weekend, it seems like. Sometimes in the same day he's got them. You know what I mean? He's like several people.
He's had the who's who of wrestlers.
Yeah, he really has had a ton of guys. I mean, I'm trying to think. The last one I went to was Barry Horowitz, but he's had Maven, he's had Kurt Hawkins, he's had Justin Credible is there all the time. Bob Backlund, you can be lucky, and Bob Backlund will just show up at the store for lunch one day, and you know, you could walk in, he'll just be sitting there with John. You know, he's had Tony Atlas numerous times. There's been a lot of.
I remember when John had his store on Center Street in Wallingford.
Oh, really?
And in the same day, for a signing, at the same time, he had Dwayne Gill, Barry Hardy, EC3.
Oh, wow.
And Crazy Steve in the morning. Then in the evening, he brought in the big guns. Kevin Nash, Papa Shango, Doink the Clown, and Hornswoggle. Unfortunately, I was there to see all of those. I mean, he's had Larry Zbyszko.
Oh man, that's really cool that Zbyszko was there.
Yeah, I was there with Greg. I got an autographed photo of him, and but I remember when Charles White was there, the Godfather. He had all three personas: the Godfather, Papa Shango.
He was just there at the other store too, the Queen Street store recently too, probably a few months ago, I think.
Yeah, and I also remember working in the Wallingford store, and just like you said with Backlund, in the Wallingford store, the door just flew open, and boom, there was Tony Atlas just walking through the front door. For a man who's 60 years old, he is still in tremendous shape.
That dude is incredible. Now, let me ask you, did you ever watch you're a New England guy, you're from Connecticut originally, right, Mike?
Yep.
And you lived in Pennsylvania for a little while. Now, do you remember when Tony Atlas left WWF?
Yep.
Do you remember him wrestling for the Savoldis ICW? Did you watch that at all?
No, I haven't. No, I remember him going there.
I've watched it. When I was a kid, I watched this. Somebody that listens to the show and has been on the show many times laughs at me because there's always seems to be a way that I can bring up the Savoldis somehow. And you just brought up Tony Atlas. So here it is. I'm talking about him again. It's like that was like my favorite independent promotion outside of WWF when I was a kid, up until they closed in 1995. But that's the first time I got to see Tony Atlas as a heel when he turned on Jumpin' Joe Savoldi. And he was an incredible heel, but that dude was huge. Even now, what's he, 60-something, almost 70 years old?
Yeah.
So he keeps in really good shape.
And I remember when John had him at a signing in his store in the afternoon in Wallingford, we went to the Pacific Buffet, me, John, and Tony, just sitting down shooting the shit. Not one person in there knew who he was. Because, sometimes they'll come over and they'll want to get an autograph or a picture with you or something. Not one person.
And he was out of the spotlight really early on in the 80s. You know what I mean?
You get a chance on YouTube and listen to the interview Hannibal had with Rocky Johnson.
Oh, yeah. I might have seen that one already. Yeah.
Talk about Tony Atlas.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard him on... I've heard him talk. I mean, but I've heard him talk about Tony before, and I've also heard Tony talk about him before as well. So it's not they weren't the best of friends later on in life. I think they kind of finally made peace a little bit later, but
Yeah. So it's so like you said, I mean, for anybody who hasn't experienced it, go on down to see John at M&J Video and Collectibles. He's got tons of video games. He's got sports memorabilia because he had two stores and he combined both stores into one.
Okay.
So he's got sports memorabilia, he's got cards, he's got plaques, he's got championship rings.
Yep.
You'll
literally be there for hours upon hours looking. Like I've gone in there and spent hours just looking, browsing, and if you're a wrestling fan, this is like there is so much wrestling stuff.
And he doesn't have one action figure of a wrestler. He has 5 or 6 of the same guy.
And he's got old WCW figures still in the package. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's just like and TNAs and all sorts of stuff. And he's got boxes upon boxes of wrestling magazines. It's so cool. And I'm like a huge magazine collector. I collect a lot of the old wrestling
autograph photos.
Yeah, it's just that guy's. He's doing a good job out there, man. He really is.
He's an agent to some of the WWE wrestlers, so that's how he gets them to come in with people that he work with.
Yeah,
I'll mention it to you off the air because I don't want to badmouth anybody, but the new guy that he's working with.
We're not going to talk about the other guy. Yeah, not on air.
No, not the other guy he was just with. The new guy he brought in. I'll tell you. We'll talk off the air.
And John's just a good guy to talk to as well. Like he knows when you go in there and chat with him, and he's just an incredible knowledge of professional wrestling dating back to.
He's been in business since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was working with him when he opened the store, and
Didn't he spend some time in the wrestling industry as well, like in the independent level?
Yeah.
I think he said that. Yeah, I think he would like work the cameras for an indie organization. I remember him saying, and I don't know what else he did, but I just remember.
Well, he also used to do backyard wrestling back in the day.
I mean, he didn't as a kid, but
it was an organization. It was an organization called NPWA, the No Pro Wrestling Association.
I've never heard of that. That's pretty interesting.
Under the name of Johnny Rock.
Okay.
And the reason he got Johnny Rock was because, for those people who don't know, John was the mascot for the New Britain Rockettes.
Okay.
He was Rocky for 11 years.
Never heard this. I never heard this before, and now I'm gonna have to bring it up.
Yeah, he was the mascot. He was Rocky the Rockette for 11 years for the New Britain Rockettes.
Wow.
And the funny story I have that I'll always remember was we used to play in the men's slow pitch softball league in Wallingford.
Yep.
And John was on our team. And he showed up to the field, the Rockette fan, and got out of the car in the Rocky gear because they had just finished a game, and he left the game to come to the softball game and didn't have a chance. So he's driving down the street in his Rockettes mascot uniform. And when he showed up, all the kids ran over to him. It's like, oh, my Lord. So anybody out there who got a photo with Rocky the Rockette from the New Britain Rockettes, that was John.
That's pretty funny. That's really funny.
So, yeah, but like I said, tomorrow's the pay-per-view. We're doing our prediction show. We do a prediction show for every pay-per-view. Tomorrow is WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, let me ask before we go any further, but how do you feel about the title of the pay-per-view? I think WrestleMania Backlash is that's kind of a crappy name. Like, it's Backlash every... You like it?
No, I think it's dumb.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And the reason they're doing that is because they were planning on having rematches from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it just blew up.
I guess it didn't work out. Yeah, I guess it didn't go as planned.
WWE Monday Night Raw, to be honest with you, needs to stop 3 hours.
That's one of the main complaints that I have.
2 weeks ago, Greg watched the entire 3 hours.
I can't do it, to be honest.
He really doesn't have anything much to do being in a rehab facility for his leg. Timed the matches, the shows in between, and he was telling me for a 3 hour show, they had a total of 1 hour of wrestling.
Yes. I think the last time I did that, probably about a month or two back, it reached 58 minutes of actual wrestling. For a 3 hour program, everything else is behind the scenes, backstage bullshit and promos, in-ring promos, and all that other garbage that nobody else wants to watch.
Right. SmackDown is killing Raw in the ratings.
It's a better program. They might only have 3 or 4 matches, but everything's been pretty top quality. It's all that in between shit that drives me crazy. The backstage interviews.
Even 2 weeks ago, they had 9 matches on Monday Night Raw. When was the last time you saw 9 matches on Monday Night Raw? But Greg was telling me not one match.
I can't answer.
5 minutes.
That's terrible. That's ridiculous. Seriously. Because, I mean, the whole formula, for them, it hasn't changed in 22 years, 23 years, probably since the beginning of the Attitude Era. The only thing that's changed is that it went from the Attitude Era to the PG era.
Yeah.
It's just the formula for the show is the same, the way they build the show.
Right.
It comes out, you open up, oh, yada, yada, this is Monday Night Raw. And then somebody's music hits and it opens up with somebody opening up with a promo.
Mm-hmm.
In-ring promo. And then that's the first 20 to 30 minutes of the show right there. And then somehow another wrestler comes out and argues with them. And then suddenly these wrestlers make their own matches. It's not remember when we were, and I've complained about this so many times on the show. Remember when we were younger, they would always build it up. You'd have either the promoter or the booker or the stuff like that coming out being like, oh, this night, Saturday night in Greensboro, I don't know, this guy is going to wrestle this guy. Instead, these guys just come out there and say, hey, we're wrestling each other tonight. And then all of a sudden that's what's going on. It's ridiculous. Right. It's like the wrestlers have overthrown anything that the actual authorities have. They have more authority than, say, the promoters and bookers and stuff like that on the shows. It's such a terrible formula.
Now, you had mentioned before that you really don't follow WWE that much, but
not anymore. It's getting. I mean,
what do you think of the Bliss character?
The which character? I hate it.
Bliss.
I hate it. I don't care about anything with the Fiend. I don't care about any. I think it's terrible. And I think like it lost a lot of steam right off the bat. And since Alexa Bliss has come back or come in it, like I guess they're trying to do something different with it, teaming them up together. And to me, it just doesn't work. I don't want to see a bunch of supernatural stuff when I'm trying to watch a professional wrestling program. Right. I just want to see, wrestling and such things like that. I don't like special effects. I mean, I don't want to see a guy barfing up black goo. I don't want to see somebody being mind fucked, basically. All this like ridiculous like stuff. It's like I came to watch wrestling. If I wanted to watch a horror movie, I'd watch a horror movie. If I wanted to watch a kids show, I'd watch a kids show. It's just when it comes to wrestling, and I know I'm like super picky when it comes to professional wrestling. I'm sure you've probably gotten that off. You've gotten that from me, me saying it's like I'm really into the traditional style of professional wrestling.
Yep.
And all the bullshit, it really drives me freaking nuts. It really, really does.
I mean, I go back to Ivan Putski, Ken Patera, Jay Strongbow. I go back to that era. Pedro Morales.
That's when wrestling was wrestling. It's like there were still characters. Like these characters were very heavy characters, but it was still wrestling. It's not
and
some
when
stupid.
I met Gangrel, we were talking about that, and Gangrel said that's when you actually had a program to follow.
Yes.
This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is how it's going to work out. He said now they just willy-nilly it.
It changes from week to week. Like, so McMahon will have a whole show planned out, and then an hour beforehand, he'll fucking throw the script away and be like, no, we're doing this. Like, you go out there. And it's like, it's aggravating because it's like I love professional wrestling. And that is why I stick to watching the independent professional wrestling.
Yep.
Mainstream wrestling is not really it's not what it was. You know what I mean? It's just not holding it in for me. Like I try to watch WWE, like Monday Night Raw. It's been a while since I've tuned in. Like for a while I was turning it on and I'd probably get about a half hour in before I just got frustrated and then shut it off. It's like, I would always at least try to watch it, but lately it's unbearable for me. SmackDown's been the better program. Yeah. That one I actually have been tuning into more. I haven't watched last night's episode, but I
remember when I was meeting with some of the wrestlers at John's store a while back, and I talked to Gangrel and a couple other wrestlers, Nikolai Volkov and Tito and everything else during the signings, and I'm really surprised that a lot of the older guys, such as them, don't watch the product anymore.
Mario doesn't watch wrestling anymore either.
Nope, because they can't stomach the way it's turned out.
And that's how there's good wrestling out there. You just have to find it. The same thing with music. Where you and I are a little bit older, so we're not going to be into like all the stuff that the kids are into. But, there's music that is being made for us. We just have to find it. You know what I mean? That's the glory thing about the internet. And what's so good about the internet? You'll be able to find stuff like that.
I also want to let the people out there know that Northeast Wrestling is coming back.
Yeah, June something, right? I think I have the date here.
June 27th at the Cadillac Ranch in Southington.
Yeah, have you been to this place? I'm not familiar with this.
I've been to the Cadillac Ranch. Greg and I, about 2-3 years ago, were invited to a benefit called Lexi's Ride.
Okay.
We were invited to do our podcast live from Lexi's Ride. It's a kind of like a motorcycle ride where they have vendors there and the guys they do a poker run and bands and food and everything else. And it was at the Cadillac Ranch. And they're doing it again this year in September. It's for a very good cause. It's for a young girl who's in, I believe she's a senior in high school now. Her name is Alexis Charbonneau. They call her Lexi. And she suffers from osteogenesis, which is brittle bone disease.
Oh, okay.
And her mom was telling her that the doctors, when she was growing up, told her that they really didn't have a long life expectancy for her. And here she is, a senior in high school.
That's okay. All right.
And it's a benefit. They didn't have it last year because all this pandemic stuff was going on. But they are bringing it back again this year, and it's going to be in September. And I will be mentioning it. I will be promoting it on the podcast once we get more information on it.
Okay.
So,
are you guys going to do the podcast there again?
Yeah.
What other kind of things do they have there besides that? Did they have anything wrestling related there, or no? Or you guys just do? You guys just show up and record?
Yeah, we set up a tent. We got a table with chairs, and we do our podcast live from there. We'll one of the big independent wrestlers that goes to the ride every year. We talk to him every year. There's Ron Zombie.
Oh yeah, I know Ron very well. Yeah.
And he's come over to our booth and he's done a couple of interviews with us right there. And we were selling raffle tickets the last time we were there, where 50% went to the person, 50% went to Lexi's Ride, but nine times out of 10, the person that won the other half is going to donate it back to Lexi's Ride.
Just donate it, yeah.
So, but they have vendors there. They have food. Who the hell catered it last year? Outback catered it the year that we were there. And
that's a good place.
The car show, everything.
So yeah, that seems like something that I should probably get down to, because it sounds like a really good event. That Northeast event sounds like I'd really like to try to make that, because I haven't been to one of their shows since prior to the pandemic. I think the last one I went to was at the North Haven Fair, and I think it was Ron Zombie and Wrecking Ball Legursky. And they when Ron Zombie was doing the corporate zombie thing gimmick, and I remember them just coming all like fighting right in front of us. It was pretty incredible. Yeah, man, it was a really good show. Yep. And it was main evented by JT Dunn and Christian Casanova, who Casanova is now in NXT. So that's pretty cool to think about that. 2 years ago, he was at the New Haven Fair. Now he's hit. See
some of the Connecticut wrestlers, or some of the wrestlers that we have talked to and interviewed and followed, are getting into NXT, getting into AEW Dark.
Good for them. Yeah. I mean, and Holiday, Richard Holiday is in MLW, which they've had a weekly television show for years. You know what I mean?
Richard Holiday was the very first wrestler I interviewed from PAPW.
Really?
Very first, yep.
So he's a really good wrestler, and I think he's going to be a really big wrestler at some point in his career.
Yep. Definitely.
All right, Mike. So you got anything else that you want to throw out the fans?
I just want to, once again, I just want to let people know, tune into the Top Rope Report every Sunday on TalkShoe.com, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast. I tell everybody, there's a lot of podcasts out there, but I tell everybody when I do promos, you want to tune into the best in pro wrestling talk, it's the Top Rope Report, because if you can't be confident about your own show, nobody else will.
Right. And you also have, you guys have been doing Facebook Lives as well, probably two times a week, right?
Also on Facebook Live as well. The only time we don't do a Facebook Live is when we do the prediction show, because we can't get everybody on Facebook Live at the same time.
Okay.
The site that we go on, you know, how you have the meeting room?
Mm-hmm.
We do our prediction show there because everybody from the show gets to be seen on their screen.
Gotcha.
Doing the show.
Gotcha. All right.
Yep, so we're definitely doing that. And I also want to say before I leave that if you guys want to check out one of the best talk shows out there, you definitely want to check this one out. PWZ with the Professor Rick Del Santo. I'm honored to call him a friend. I'm glad we met at an indie show along with Don Kincaid, who does Stirring the Pot. And it's just, the podcasts are a rare breed. So we kind of have to stick together.
Yeah.
And we try to help each other out with certain things. I mean, you helped us out getting on TeePublic and getting our store. And I just want to let people know that if you definitely want to check out a really, really good podcast, definitely check this one out, PWZ with the Professor Rick Del Santo.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And check out Paradise Alley on Twitch this coming Saturday. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep.
You will not be disappointed because the King of Paradise is one of their best events that they have every year. It's a great tournament, an annual tournament, and they've got I forgot to mention one of the matches. I knew I was forgetting something while I was going through the list. Ichiban and somebody I've never seen called, was it Saru? I've never seen that person.
Flying Monkey. Yeah, I know him very well.
Oh, do you? I've never seen them before, but I love this Ichiban character that's been on. I've seen them a couple different organizations.